In today's video, I am going to be breaking down what a motion offense is. Basically, what a motion offense is in basketball is an offensive play that runs through the same exact motions or the same exact running points or whatever you may want to call it over and over again. As an example, in a 5-out offense, you would have, for example, a play called pass and cut, where you would have player 1 pass over to, for example, to player 3, and then he would cut towards the rim. Player 2 would then fill that spot, player 5 would fill that spot, and then we would have player 1 fill out if nobody was open for a shot. So, for example, after player 1 passes, he cuts to the rim. If he's open, you would of course give him the ball for the layup. However, if he's not open, player 2 would fill his spot, 5 will fill 2's spot, and 1 will fill 5's spot. Then if we were to pass to, for example, player 4, again, same thing, player 3 cuts, player 2 would then fill, player 5 fills, player 1 fills, and then, of course, if player 3 wasn't open for the layup, he would then fill player 1's spot. The only time it gets slightly different is, of course, when player 4 gets the ball and then he passes out to player 2. At that point, he would still cut towards the rim. However, when he cuts towards the rim, there's two different options that he would have. He can either cut to the rim, post up for a second, and pop back out, or after he cuts, he can then set a screen away for player 3, who would then maybe be open for a layup. If not, then he would fill out, player 4 fills out, and you are still starting and stopping with the exact same spots filled over and over again with the same motions that you're running through. Now, this is just a basic example, but if you want, make sure to go check out my complete guide to the 5-out offense down in the description below. In fact, the 5-out motion offense has many different options that you can run. So for example, you could pass and screen away. And when that happens, player 5 fills this spot, player 2 fills this spot, and then you would then be running through the exact same movements. And then, of course, player 3 passes to player 5, and then, of course, by the whole idea of screening away, player 3 would then screen away for player 4, and player 4 would cut across. There's also the option for pass and screen 4. So for example, if player 5 passed to player 4, he could then screen for player 4. Player 4 then uses that screen, player 5 rolls towards the rim, and of course this could be an open layup for player 5. Now, the best motion offenses will not run through the exact same motion over and over again. So for example, going back to that 5-out example, just because it's the easiest motion that you can run, you wouldn't want to continue with the pass and cut over and over again, because at that point, the other team's going to start cheating, and of course, it's just going to be easily able to be defended. You want to switch between 2 or 3 motions once you kind of get the idea behind how to run them. So for example, let's say player 2 decided to pass and cut to the rim. Let's say he wasn't open and player 4 filled, 5 filled, and 2 filled. At this time, you wouldn't want player 1 to do the exact same thing. We want him to then do one of 2 other options, which would be pass and screen away or pass and screen for the player he passed to. So for example, because player 2 cut, we can then have player 1 pass to player 4 and set a screen away, or a pin down screen also known as, for player 3. Player 3 would then of course be potentially open for a 3-point shot, or after player 1 sets that screen, he may want to roll towards the basket. We want our players to also think for themselves. And when that happens, player 4 could pass the 3 or 1 if one of the other is open. And if player 1 wasn't open, he could just pop back out, or he could screen away for player 2, which then would give player 4 another option to pass to for a layup. If that's not open, we are still in our 5-out offense. You can even get more advanced. There's a type of screen called a staggered screen. Basically, what a staggered screen is just 2 players setting a screen for the same player. And this is actually one of the 5-out plays that my teams run that I coach. I coach senior and junior varsity, and after player 4 passes the 3, he would set a screen at the elbow, and player 5 would set a pin down screen for player 1, in which case player 1 would come off of that staggered screen for a potential 3-point shot. The first player who screens rolls towards the basket as an option for player 3 3 or 1 to pass to, and then player 4 would then pop out for potentially a 3-point shot. And then, of course, player 5 screens away for player 2, again, potentially open for a layup. And then player 2 fills out, 5 fills out, and we are still in our 5-out offense. In fact, you can actually set up multiple different screening options in the 5-out. You can do this with a 4-out motion as well as an overload motion against a zone. There are so many different motions out there. Of course, make sure to you can check out the 5-out offense down in the description below, but I've got obviously so many different motion offenses on this channel as well that you can check out too. A really good overload motion that you can run is, of course, the 4-out 1-in that kind of goes into a triangle style offense where we'd have player 1 pass to player 3 and player 1 could go down into that corner. We've now essentially overloaded the side against a zone, and what's even better is we could even have, for example, in a zone, you would have the 2-3 zone set up most likely like this, in which case you could then have player 4 move down towards this corner, player 2 cut across, do a high cut across, and he may be open for a mid-range shot, might bring up player 5 for a high to low post pass. Now, if he wasn't open, he would fill out. However, the reason why this is a motion is, remember how we made that pass initially. So basically, we would have that entry pass into player 3, and then player 1 would cut down towards that corner. Obviously, the defense will shift like so, and then we would have player 2 or 4, depending on what they are doing, can cut across to be in line with that key. When we do that, this is going to be the swing. As soon as it goes to the high post or to the point, we want to now swing through, which means that we're going to have player 4 pop up, and now we're going to have player 5 set screens if need be for player 1. And player 1 is going to go through, and he's going to cut through to the free throw line extended. We're going to have player 2 swing the ball over to player 4. Again, player 5 is still going to be screening for player 3 to be now in the low post. Player 5 is going to pop out, and then remember what we did on this side? We're going to do the exact same thing. Pass to the wing, and then pop down into that corner. Now, the reason why this is so deadly against a zone is because you're overloading a side, and then you're going to be swinging that ball over to the other side. And in a motion offense, you're doing the same motions over and over again. This is more obviously advanced than what you would run with a kids team or a young team. This is more of a high school aged offense right here with the triangle overload, but from here, this is a fantastic option that you could run and gives you a lot of different options against a zone. I hope that this video has helped you understand what a motion offense is, but also gives you ideas as to what plays that you could run with your team. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe, make sure to go check out my complete guide to the 5-out offense down in the description below, and I'll see you guys again next time.